Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville, and we are here for another deep dive. Thank you, everyone, for showing up to this live deep dive today. This is called Can You Hear Me Now? Effective communication through the chaos. So I remember when I was younger, um, I tried to call my partner. I knew that he was coming over, so I tried to call him and see where he was. And he picked up the phone and he was like, I can't hear you. Someone in the other room is talking real loud. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And he said, no, somebody in the other room is talking real loud. And he's like, man, and then he hollered, told him to shut up. And I was thinking, and I was like, dude, can you hear me? He said, no, somebody in the other room is talking real loud. And I was like, where are you? He's like, man, I'm at your house. He said, your brother let me in. He said, where you at? So I left out of my room and went down the hallway to my brother's room where he was sitting in there watching my brother play video games. I was like, can you hear me now? Just a little bit of effective communication. The person that he heard talking loud was me. I was in the other room. I don't know why he didn't come and knock on my door. He went to my brother's room instead. Makes no sense to me, but all this media that we watch, you can see how just a little bit of effective communication could have saved an entire situation in a much different way. Thank you to everyone for showing up.
Hey.
Yeah, try to do something a little different, little razzle dazzle.
Okay. All right.
Little razzle dazzle. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out these little programs. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Governor.
Hello. Listen, I can hear you, brother. I hear you now.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, so good to be in the neighborhood, man. Thank you once again for allowing me to be a part of the whole process, man. You know, me and you, man, we can talk. So, to bring everybody else into the conversation is going to be tons of fun, and I'm excited to hear what this topic is going to be about.
I do want to keep this short, and I want a little bit of a chopping up between myself and you before we bring in some of the other wonderful folks with us. I know that we have and I do want to mention my wonderful moderator, Snide, who is also a moderator on Yes, he has helped me moderate things. I'd be trying to stay focused, and I can't really focus on all the comments. So he helps me take care of that, and he is a fantastic moderator on the Discord, on Centel's Discord. So if you have not joined that Discord, if you look in any of my descriptions, there is a link to join the Discord in the description. When I see one of our other fabulous moderators from the Discord on here, Sophie, Sophie is with the shits, and I love it.
Stay with it.
She stays with it, and I love it. And our other wonderful moderator, Ariel, I believe she's not able to join us this week, and it saddens me, but I know that she will catch up with us whenever she can. So let's talk about today's topic. Can you hear me now? Effective communication through the chaos.
Okay.
All of these different movies and series that we watch, one of the things that seems to always be lacking, which maybe contributes to a better story, is the lack of effective communication. So we watched, and when I thought of this particular angle, we had just got finished watching Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. A Guy Ritchie, it was his first movie, and some say his best movie. Whether you like Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, is pure chaos on a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And one of the things that severely lacked in there was a little bit of communication between all the parties involved in that, I don't heist,
Yeah.
caper. It was a lot going on in that movie.
Yeah.
But that got me to thinking about all of these things that we watch. So you have House of the Dragon, which coincidentally, one of the people with the least amount of communication was Prince Daemon Targaryen, who also happens to be our wonderful 11th Doctor Matt Smith, who we're covering right now.
Yeah.
So communication on both ends from him, and maybe that's just something that's a Matt Smith quality, because communication does not seem to be high with his particular characters. But it did cause a number of problems. I did want to say that effective communication really should have 3 different keys.
Okay.
One being clarity. You have to ensure that your message is easily understood without confusion or misinterpretation.
Okay.
And even though it seems easy to communicate by text, sometimes text adds to the confusion because it can be misinterpreted, because you can't gather tone or intent in a text message. And sometimes that's why talking to people, which seems to be an old school quality now, people don't like to talk. They'll text in a heartbeat. That's why that might be important. Second key is conciseness. Get to the point without a bunch of unnecessary words or images. Get to the point. Keep the main thing the main thing.
You sounded like a dude, man. Because sometimes within the gender gap, our lovely counterparts like to be a little more long-winded in the explanation so that you thoroughly get it. And I think a lot of times men are like, let's just get to the nitty-gritty. Let's get to the meat of it, and that can cause a lot of disconnect.
That right there, that whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing or whatever, that's a whole different conversation. Because sometimes, and we men being the simple, logical creatures that we are, sometimes that lack of conciseness is on purpose. Because how do you go into I don't want to say an argument, a disagreement, a communication gap there, and you start talking about the problem that you're having and how you see it, and before you know it, it's flipped on you, and you don't want to apologize. And you're like, wait, what the
what? How did that hell happen?
Yeah.
Like, wait a second.
What the hell? Yes. And that's because, as men, sometimes we want to find a safe space to be able to effectively communicate, and it gets flipped on us. And sometimes we are simple creatures and we let it happen, happy wife, happy life, or happy spouse, happy house, or whatever. And sometimes that does not happen, and it's unfortunate. And, and I guess my third and final key is consistency. Ensure that your message is consistent. And a lot of times, like we just said, when you're trying to be clear, you're trying to be concise, it is very easy to go completely off track, and your message is taken out of context because it's not consistent. Your message, whatever it is that you're trying to say, is not consistent. You saw my assistant there behind me. Is as we are here on the TARDIS, and yes.
All right, so we got the triple C. So we got clarity, conciseness, and consistency. I like that. I do like that. Okay. All right. Let's pick up on one of these, man. Say more.
So one of the things right now, we are spending some time with the Doctor, the 11th Doctor, season 6, and we are in the Discord. Those who are watching with the Discord might not be the same on YouTube right now. We're a little bit further behind, but in the Discord and on Centel's Patreon, there are we're coming to the close of season 6. And one thing we have not had is clarity of messaging. And that's because there have been secrets involved. Amy and Rory and River have been keeping a secret from the doctor the entire season. The doctor is now privy to that secret, but he doesn't know that they know and that they have known. And now he's keeping his own secrets, and he has distanced himself. He put Melody, he put River in a place for her to find herself, to find River Song.
Mm-hmm.
He separated himself away from Amy and Rory because, for whatever reason, maybe to save their heart, maybe to save both of his hearts.
Okay.
Who knows? But right now we don't have clarity of message. And it almost seems like if they would have just talked, then maybe they could have come up with a solution together.
Okay.
And many of the other properties that we see have the same issue. And it's interesting because the first thing that I thought of in this, and you just brought it up, is that why can we not have this kind of clarity of messaging, when we're talking amongst each other, especially to sometimes our most important counterparts in this, and it's the people that are in your particular home with you. Yeah. So, go ahead.
I want to add a piece. There's something that I think is very important in communication, and that's really paying attention and listening, not listening to retort, not listening to say retort. And when we're talking about some of these projects that we've seen, everything from Supercell, Snatch, Rebel Ridge, Doctor Who, House of the Dragon, all of this. There's one show in particular where communication is absolutely paramount, and is more so paramount on the person that's listening than the person that's actually saying something. And that was a show we watched called Shogun. The culture of these samurai is you have to pay attention to everything from the degree of the bow could be a slight. If it's not exactly 45 degrees, it's a slight. It's the tone in what's being said. If you're not paying attention to the tone of what's being said, it's a slight. If you're responding back in a certain kind of way, if not acknowledging certain things that are said, even in the poetry and the things that they say within this show, it's just as important for you to listen in order for you to get clarity and to get context. Whereas other shows, like let's just take for instance Snatch, or even more so like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, nobody pays attention to nothing. You literally have to get punched in the face in order for you to kind of like understand what this person is saying to you. So in one culture, in Shogun, it's almost like chess moves in how you communicate. You have to be on it. And in others, like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and especially in Doctor Who, you kind of blunder into what the person needs or what the person is asking. Two totally different cultures in how we have effective communication. Oh, can't hear you, brother. We lost you.
Sorry, I turned my mic off because I had to say something to my son, my assistant. See, that's doing it live, doing it live.
That's why we love it.
Yeah, of course. I do this live on the day they cancel school. Hey, let's run with it. It's amazing that you mentioned Shogun, because even though I didn't kind of include Shogun, I was going to talk about Shogun because the communication in Shogun was absolutely next level. No. And you're right, everything in there meant something. And most people operate their life like a game of checkers. You make a move, I make a move. You make a move, I make a move. And very rarely, you'll see somebody like, okay, well, if they could do this, then I might do this. But it's very it's very surface. Shogun is chess. It's not even chess. It's like the Chinese have another game called Go. Listen, that's chess on steroids, like because grandmasters at chess they can beat you from the first move that you make. They can see your opening move and be like, you've already lost. And be like, what? We just started a game. How you know that? And it's like, listen, I've studied you, kind of like poker. And a good poker player doesn't play the cards. He plays the person. You know, I can pick up on your tails, your idiosyncratic behavior. I can pick up on the smallest things you do and know what you have in your hand, what you're hoping to get, all of that. Go is like that. Chess is like that. A grandmaster knows 40 moves ahead what you're going to do. And the most difficult person to beat is someone who has absolutely no clue what they're going to do next. You know, that thing of when you're unpredictable. The one thing I absolutely loved about Shogun, and I'm so sad it was one season, 10 episodes, and that was peak television for 10 episodes. And you're right, everything meant something. Sophie, one of our moderators, is in the chat right now, and she said something very important in the chat. And she said that there are times when she needs to ask us to explain things more because the context is non-existent. And that could absolutely be true. And that is especially if you are having a disagreement and your disagreement is tenuous at best. However, there is the flip side of that. And that is also that the context that it's not non-existent, it's that you don't want to acknowledge it. And that goes for men and women. And that goes back to what you were just saying about the active listening. You are actively listening to what I have to say and not listening for rebuttal. I absolutely admit I have been guilty of that. I have been in an argument and I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not listening. I am already formulating my defense. I am formulating my rebuttal. And it's unfortunate because a lot of times too, I just dropped a deep dive when I was which one was it? It was The Doctor's Wife, season 6, episode 4. And I was talking about how Idris had become the spirit of the TARDIS. And we don't realize until Idris takes corporeal form that the TARDIS has heard and seen everything that's happened for the entire time that she has been with the Doctor. And a lot of times my basis on that was, if these walls could talk, who are you? You know, that proverbial fly on the wall. Who are you when other people are not around? And I say that to say, you know, are you at your best self at all times? How often are you think that you're the hero in your own story, and sometimes you don't realize you are the damn villain, you know? And a lot of times when you are not using active listening, that is because you are defending your villainry. You know, I do not want to admit that I have been the bad guy, that I am at fault. So I'm going to defend it. And we see it a lot of times especially in a lot of these movies and TV shows that we want. And we actually even love that there's no clear delineation between good guys and bad guys anymore. We have anti-heroes and we love it. That the good guys do some bad stuff for a good reason. We like that. And a lot of times we take on these particular personas in real life, and real life just should not work that way, especially around people that you love, people that you care for. You should be clear. You should be concise. You should be consistent. You shouldn't be a goddamn anti-hero. And listen, if it's somebody that you care about, you should active listen and be clear, concise, and consistent with them. And a lot of times it takes therapy and heartbreak to figure out, yeah, I may be the one who messed that shit up.
Yeah. I think he says something that to me, that's a bar, and that everybody believes that they are the hero in their own story. Nobody wants to admit it. Wants to admit when villainy is happening on your part. But if you listen, you will hear where some of the issues may come from your side of things. One of the most sage pieces of advice my dad ever told me, and he was like, listen, if you ever want to know what's on a woman's mind, just shut up. just shut up. That's all you got to do. If you want to know what's on her mind, she will tell you. But because we as men, we're so, we got to be right. We got to fix something. We got to fix it. We got to be right, and we kind of want to get the situation over with. We don't hear. We don't even get a chance to hear what the problems could be, or and like you said, pride is another thing. We don't want to hear what's plainly in front of our face, or acknowledge and see what's plainly in front of our face. Go ahead.
The strange thing about that, Snatch dropped this comment that his favorite lesson that he's learned recently is that you're not always right, and that we're always learning.
Yeah.
And he learned that when he was an active listening in the past, that hadn't happened. And the problem with that too is, you said the other huge key to this part of communication is pride. And too often do we let our pride get in the way. Our pride many times will preclude us from saying, you know what, you're right. That one is a big one. And unfortunately, I have very rarely heard that from the women who have been in my life. Now, I don't know if that's because that's just the kind of women that I picked. That has a hard time. That has a big thing to do with it. Because listen, sometimes, you see the red flags, but you don't see them. You're like, what red flags? I don't see none of them. No, she's good. You see how fine she is? Look at that.
That's not really a flag. It's more like
it's more in the orangish family. It's not really red. And a lot of times, but that's on our part as well. That sometimes when they're right, we'll double down on our stupidity just to not be proven wrong. And even this whole argument you started may be absolute bullshit. You just started an argument maybe to deflect away from something else that's an issue that you don't want to deal with. There is power in healing, and a lot of that starts with communication.
My mom calls it strong wrong.
Strong
wrong. You strong wrong. You gonna that's the hill you're gonna die on. I used to ain't
it funny how strong wrong also is loud.
Yeah,
strong wrong is not quiet. When strong wrong, now you start loud talking and saying it with your whole chest. Just wrong as hell.
Just wrong.
Just wrong as shit. Listen, I appreciate you, my guy, and the one thing I want to do right here is I want to leave our faithful and our lovely YouTube people with something to look forward to. Okay. And that is by you coming to my Patreon to catch the rest of this discussion that we're about to have. Because I'm about to bring in Sophie. Listen, I know she got bars. I know Sophie gonna make me shut up and be like, you know what? And we got Frank dropping in to join us today. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has shown up to this live. We are going to continue this discussion here on live. So this is the only time you're going to get it. And if you missed it, you're going to have to see me in the Patreon. I'm trying to do more to make my Patreon have more value to all my Patreon members, and I love each and every one of them. They are fantastic. I lost a Patreon member the other day, and it broke my heart. And I was like, oh, I have to do more. I have to do more. These are my people. This is my tribe. I have to do more. So thank you to everyone who is with us now. As always, please like, comment. You know what I'm saying? Can you see yourself? If you get into an argument, if you're having some issues in the communication area, is it you? Because it may very, very well be you. It may be the other. It may be both of you. But the only thing that you can do, and I thank God for therapy. I learned this in therapy. Only thing that you can do is clean up your side of the street. You cannot provide someone else with their happiness. You cannot fix their problems for them. You have to fix your own and then deal with whatever comes from that as you go. You know, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And by all means, share this. Thank you, Centel, as always. You know, it's got to be about this. And it's got to be about this. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Chef.